What's going on, everybody? And welcome to the very first episode of the Best Damn Wrestling Podcast, a podcast for wrestling fans by wrestling fans. We your hosts. I'm Sherrod, Keithan on the other side, and man, we doing this thing. It's the first episode.
Damn right we doing this. We bringing some relevancy to the wrestling world. Bringing some truth, much needed
I,
truth to the wrestling world.
no doubt, no doubt. I this is something that we just kind of thought of on the fly, man. For those of you listening, we came up with this idea essentially from listening to podcasts that we like, right?
Yep.
You know,
Yep. Various different ones. Definitely.
and the, some to wrestle with Bruce Pritchard, the Colt the Cornette drive through, 83 weeks. All of them are straight inspirations for us. We do just anything wrestling, and we thought,
hmm
hell, why not give it a try and see what the hell happens?
Since we talk so much shit about wrestling all already, I mean, we love the business, you know. So we don't hate wrestling. It's not a bashing podcast by any means.
And we ain't experts, and we not gonna get everything right. And hell, if we fuck up something, let us know. But we feel like maybe this is a platform for us to kind of say some of the things that most fans say and nobody gets to hear. So whether you're a hardcore fan like we are, or a casual fan, hopefully you'll check us out and shit. Let's dive right in, man, and see what we can get to.
Yep. And another thing, we never step foot in the ring, so we don't know what it's like, but we're not acting like we know what it's like. So just a
It's
disclaimer. Just a
So,
disclaimer.
yeah, it's just the fans' perspective, and again, we're not gonna get everything right, but at the same time, we still feel like there's some things we see or have saw that maybe we ought to get out there and we can get a message across. I know a lot of people have things that they want said that they don't always get heard, but maybe this would be a
Yep.
way for it to get out.
People power.
That's it. So, man, let's jump right in. We got a lot of stuff to
Yep.
cover. We'll
Yep.
be talking all things NXT Takeover and Royal Rumble, which happens this weekend, along with some other stuff in AEW and things we've heard on what we're looking for and stuff like that. So we got a pretty packed show.
Yep. Eventful weekend we got ahead of us.
So, hey, man, I'm psyched about Takeover. You don't see many of them, but when you do, they tear the house down.
Every time. Nothing less than 5 stars, in my opinion. Really and
War
truly.
Games I thought was just as good as all the rest we saw. I don't think anything a top takeover New Orleans last year, in my opinion, but they still got a pretty good card.
Oh, a very, very good card. I mean, you're going with the NXT title, if we want to start there, the NXT title match with Aleister Black and Ciampa. I mean, you can only imagine what they're going to do. You've seen what Black and Ciampa's been doing. And we don't know if this is going to be Black's last match in NXT because he's been rumored for a while to be the next one called up to the main roster.
Let me tell you, him and Aleister Black and Tommaso Ciampa are two of the better people on their roster. First and foremost, I'm gonna say this, and I may catch a lot of heat for it. Don't give a fuck, but Tommaso Ciampa may be the best heel in the WWE as far as a guy that knows how to get heat. He knows how to do things. He's on a totally different level right now. I can't believe nobody's talking about the fact that his ring psychology right this second is unreal. You do realize that when we started last year, there was like several huge matches between him and Gargano, and if at the end of Takeover this week, you almost have a DIY thing going on. How
hmm
the hell does that happen? There's been a buildup to that from day one. It seems it's almost unreal to think that this has been his plan the whole time. It's crazy. Again, he's the best heel I've seen. He's not watered down or none of that stuff. No matter who you put him in the ring with, he can have a great match. But he's still also able to do his thing and show his ability. I'm a huge fan of his. It's not many guys I would follow like him, and I mean again, I'm a huge Aleister Black fan too. The match he had with Gargano at War Games was awesome. And I feel like this has been building to this point with him and Tommaso Ciampa, and I think that's gonna be a great match.
Oh, definitely, definitely, definitely. I mean, his work has been great. Champa being the heel, he's been doing the best heel work that I've seen in a while. The way he commits to his character, the way he just finds dirty ways to win a match is different. Is real
That
different.
that whole Blackheart persona is pretty badass. I got to be honest. I'm a huge fan of his. I no, and it's crazy. No matter who they put him in the ring with, he's done Gargano this past year. He's done Aleister Black at one point this past year. He had a match with that. He tore the house down with Velveteen Dream not
Yes, he
even
did.
4 months ago. That
Yes,
was
he
an
did.
amazing fucking match.
Yep, he did. He really did.
And,
Like that had me on the edge of my seat. I pride myself on my ability to predict what's going to happen in the match and what happens in the show, and I couldn't predict that match. I thought Velveteen Dream was going to win. I didn't see Ciampa going over like that, but the way he did it, it was no room for issue there because it was greatly, just greatly executed. And then the Black Heart thing, I love it too. I loved it when Owen Hart did it. When Owen Hart called himself the Black Heart, it was amazing.
yeah, yeah. One of the things that stuck out to me, they was doing the I guess the build up to Ciampa and Aleister Black and Takeover, and kind of showing like the whole little rivalry or whatnot. And Aleister Black has started calling Tommaso Ciampa the puppet master, and that's almost a perfect analogy because that's
Yep.
what he is. You don't see anybody else that's doing the stuff he's doing as a heel in the WWE. It's not happening.
and you and you didn't see anybody. You haven't seen anybody in recent years that came out with no music for like months. For the pretty much a whole year, didn't come out with no music.
Do you remember? I think it was the Velveteen Dream match where he was getting his ass whipped and he starts limping with his shoe off to the back. To the
Yeah,
back. Yeah, yeah, that was pretty
that's
awesome, man.
commitment.
Like,
That's commitment.
he's great. I mean, and the whole thing about him being the greatest sports entertainer of all time. I don't like that word, but at the same time, the persona he's portraying is awesome. I think that's gonna be a pretty good match, almost as good as the battle for essentially Mr. Takeover, Gargano versus Ricochet. Who you got?
All right, this is my prediction. I like to throw out predictions. Judging by how NXT ended, I think it's gonna be some kind of interference by Ciampa, possibly, but that's like a mild prediction. But without any interference, I think Gargano. There's no way they're not gonna let him go over. Ricochet's had that title for months now, and they're gonna look to move it. And I think Johnny Gargano is the right one to put it on. He
Eh,
hasn't had a major title in recent months, so I
but
mean
it's
it
almost
fits
like
well.
the North American title has become kind of like a workers' belt of sorts. You. When Adam Cole had it, he put on great match after great match after great
Hmm.
match after great match. You know, I mean, even the match to get the belt, that 6 man ladder match at Takeover New Orleans last year
Yeah,
was unreal.
yeah.
But and Ricochet's done a great job. The matches he's had with Pete Dunne and the matches he had at War Game, he's been pretty good with it. But yeah, I'm kind of like, yeah, I think this is Gargano's chance to get it. Although I think that it'd be a nice twist if Gargano was playing Ciampa the entire time, and then is able to come back around if he somehow retains against Aleister Black and still challenge for the title at the next takeover. I think that would be awesome. But either way, you can't deny Johnny Gargano's been almost as good as Seth Rollins had with putting on just match after match, just tearing the house down. No matter
Hmm.
who you put him in the ring with
Yeah.
this past year, he's been amazing.
He's been
The
living up to
match
his
he
name, Johnny Wrestler.
exactly. Yeah, no doubt. I mean, just watching him against Aleister Black and how he's went through stages where the the matches he had with Ciampa and then the matches he had with Aleister Black, that cage match on NXT was outstanding.
It
It was
was.
it
It
was awesome.
was. It was.
So. hell, you talk about guys that you can almost put anything or anybody in the ring with. He's one of them. I think you would still get a great match out of him with almost anybody.
Yeah. I mean, that would be good to see DIY be singles champions at the same time.
Yeah, and see where that goes. They almost shook hands at the end of the last NXT
Yeah.
before Candice LeRae came out. So
Hmm.
it's gonna be interesting to see where that goes. I'm interested for that story. But my theory is maybe there's kind of a double cross going on. Gargano's playing Ciampa, and then eventually they come back around. I think you got to settle that feud eventually.
Yeah, because it was unresolved, really. And
Yeah,
in 3 matches, it was 3-0 in favor of Champa. So yeah, it was different.
the
But who do
last
you think?
match.
Who do you have in that NXT championship match? I didn't get your prediction.
I think it's Aleister Black's belt to win at this stage. I mean, this has pretty much been what he's been building up to since he's come back. I think it might be time to give it back to Aleister Black. But then again, I'm gonna be honest. Side note, I'm really kind of ticked off that they didn't go further with Velveteen Dream. I think they should have followed up on that. He tore the house down and almost won it. Why not run another takeover with them too, and then give him a chance? I'd like to see him with it, but I'm gonna go Aleister Black on this one. I can't see it any other way. But who knows? I mean, I went Velveteen Dream at the last takeover, and I watched him win this match. He finds a way to get it done, man. I mean,
Yeah,
say what you want, fan or foe, he gets it done. So it could very well be Ciampa. I really don't have skin in the game. I like both guys, but I'm gonna go Aleister Black on this one.
to me, I think Ciampa's gonna win. But at the end of the day, it doesn't really matter. I know the match is gonna be good.
No, hands down. You may have two 5-star matches on your hand with those two
Yeah,
matches there. Speaking of championships, of course there'll be Bianca Belair and Shayna Baszler. I mean,
that's,
who you got?
we don't even have to spend too much time on that. Bianca Belair,
She
undefeated.
she looks for real. I was a huge Kairi Sane fan when she was tearing the house down with Shayna Baszler in the 2 out of 3 falls match, and the match at the other previous takeover to win it. And they've had great matches, but I think that this may be the most evenly matched Shayna Baszler looks with anybody.
Yeah,
And
because
I'm gonna
all other people have been smaller to her, really and truly. Compared to her, they've been smaller, and she didn't have a chance to lock up with Oscar, really.
right, and that probably would have been a competitor that was more. I was not that no, not that Kairi Sane hasn't been on her level, but I think Bianca Belair presents a bigger problem, and I
Yeah.
mean the undefeated streak and everything, and she doesn't seem like she's fearful or scared or going. She's ultra confident. I like her persona. I'm a huge fan.
Hmm.
I think she got enough hype behind her, and almost the same as Ember Moon. She may not be down there that long.
Yeah, I can see that. I could definitely see that. I see that they're high on her. Her promo work is good. She commits to her character, and her ring work is even better.
Oh, no doubt. Shit. I mean, the matches she had with Nikki Cross were great,
Yeah.
and I'm a huge Nikki Cross fan. I love the whole part she played in that storyline with Aleister Black, Johnny Gargano, Tommaso Ciampa. She's great. I hope that they don't misuse her on the main roster, but only time will tell
Mm.
there. But
Mm.
yeah.
Yeah, it depends on who's running that fucking show.
Well, fuck. We'll get to that in a second, but
Yeah, we definitely got to.
yeah,
Let
yeah,
me
for
make a
sure.
note of that so I remember what I need to say.
I mean, going to tag team champions, you got the War Raiders versus Undisputed Era. Let me start here. First off, I think Undisputed Era is probably they're hot. I all four of those guys are great workers. All four of them put on great matches, and it's crazy because you could interchange any of them, and they could all work together. They got great chemistry. I love Undisputed Era. Huge fan. Adam Cole, Kyle O'Reilly, Roger Strong, Bobby Fish. It doesn't matter. All great. All great. They tore the house down at War Games, and I mean, I I don't think they can be beat. Although the War Raiders impressed the hell out of me at War Games in that match too, and I was they really surprised me. They're a great tag team. I'm gonna be honest. When I looked at them, I felt like it was more of a Bludgeon Brothers or Sanity gimmick.
Yeah. Yes. Same
But
here.
I mean, those guys are pretty goddamn good. Although you hadn't seen them up until recently because of the War Games recovery and stuff,
Hmm.
but uh, they may actually be able to get it done. Yeah, but then again, how many times have we bet on Undisputed Era losing anything and they still come out on top?
This is also true. Undisputed Era. I mean, it's clear that the goal for them is to always have some kind of goal to represent their faction. That's why I get with them, and they want to ultimately have every piece of gold. They want to have somebody have the NXT championship. They want to have somebody have the North American. They want Strong and O'Reilly to keep the tag titles.
Let
Like
me
I was
ask you
telling you
this.
before, huh?
Not to cut you off. Let me ask you this. Would you be opposed to all of them having every piece of gold that's in NXT?
I would not. That would make them more dominant.
And here's his follow up question. Wouldn't that put you in the mind of kind of how the NWO was at one point in time in WCW?
Exactly, it would make them dominant over it because they're the most over faction in NXT. Ain't
They
nobody
most
over
over
like.
faction in WWE. Period. Shit. I mean, I don't know who else would you. First off, who else would you call a faction these days? Secondly, who else has that much talent that has stayed together over time? I'm gonna be honest. I'm very surprised they've been together this long and not had a problem. It's been over a year since they added a fourth member. Remember, they added the fourth guy at a takeover New Orleans right before WrestleMania.
Hmm.
And during the Dusty Rose Classic when they barely got out of that, but they still somehow managed to pull it off.
The only other team that's pretty much a faction that I could compare to them in terms of longevity and popularity is the New Day and skill.
Uh, yeah, that's probably true. I
They
mean,
they've been 4 years in the game, 4 years in the game. But I
and
think this tag team championship match it has the potential to be either the second or the third best match on the card.
I don't doubt it. I mean, again, that card's so stacked with matches that I personally want to see, and I think this could be a better takeover than last time. I think it could be a better takeover in the last 12 months. I mean,
Yeah,
they also have Matt Riddle and Cassius Ono, and I,
Matt,
I,
Matt
I
Riddle's
think,
going over. Matt
yeah,
Riddle's going
yeah.
over.
I'm gonna be honest. I'm fucking tired of seeing Cassius Ono. Not that I have anything against him, but fuck, this has went on long enough. Give him somebody else to fucking wrestle, please.
Yeah, man, I just don't. I don't. The whole spin into elbow thing. I don't get why he doesn't like to work the fuck out. I don't understand why he comes out there dressed like he does, looking like JBL's illegitimate son. I don't understand this shit. I don't understand. He just the sight of him pisses me off.
uh,
Shit.
I mean, I'm not taking away from him. He's was great work on the indie scene.
Hey, Chris
And
Hero, yeah, Chris Hero
it
was good.
it just seems like they don't have a lot for him to do any now. He seems more like an enhancement guy. Does it make sense?
I
And
understand.
yeah, and it was fucking embarrassing how he had that 2 second match on Takeover War Games. That was a waste of time. I didn't get that.
And let them know what they thought of him. I mean,
Yeah,
because you can be as good as you want, but if you're not marketable, they're not going to use you, and they're going to show you that they can't use you. They want people that look good. They want people to catch people eye. Cassius Ohno is not catching anybody's eye.
Side note: if you haven't, for people listening, if you haven't seen Matt Riddle in anything but NXT, I highly recommend you check him out.
Hmm.
I know he's done some work with Will Ospreay for sure. I'm a huge Will Ospreay fan, and they've had some pretty good matches. But I'm gonna be honest about my part. I'm still kind of trying to figure him out too. He's still fairly new to me, but I'm supposedly he's supposed to be a pretty good talent, so I'd like to
He's
see him take
very
on a
good.
bigger role. Yeah, yeah, I
Also,
like to
check
see him
out
on the
his
big
matches
stage.
with Shane Strickland. With Shane
Uh,
Strickland.
yeah,
That's another dude who's rumored to sign with NXT in the coming weeks. And let me tell you, if he comes to NXT and him and Matt Riddle lock up, prepare to see some good matches. They've already had like two, if I remember correctly.
This is a plug-in. It has nothing to do with this particular takeover. But speaking of guys coming in, if you didn't have a chance to see NXT UK Blackpool, first off, I highly recommend it. I think that the UK division of NXT is pretty cool. Now, I'm gonna be honest. It seems more like a lot. It's of course it's a lot of strong style wrestling, and that's pretty big over there. But they have some good talent too. But the person I'm really excited about, other than Pete Dunne, is the new guy they just brought in, Walter. For people that don't know this guy,
Walter,
yeah,
Walter.
yeah, check him out. I mean, I watched a match he did with Will Ospreay, and it was awesome. I mean, this guy is a 300 pounder who moves like a guy half his size, has mad skill. He's phenomenal. I think he could be the one to unseat Pete Dunne. Keep an eye on him. He may be the next big thing coming onto the main roster at some point. He actually wrestles next week, so I'm pretty excited about that too. But that's just a plug in. I watch that guy if you haven't seen him. I recommend it.
He has the most dominating big boot I've ever seen. That's the most devastating big boot I've ever seen.
Hell, I'd rather take the boot than those goddamn chops. I mean, if you haven't seen those chops, I don't know if I would want to take one. Those.
I I'll take the chops over Pete Dunne messing with my fingers.
Yeah, I'm a
So
huge
I say,
Pete Dunne fan, but I think now he might be the guy to finally do it. But again, time will tell. We've been wrong before. But moving on, I mean, from there, of course, Sunday is the Royal Rumble, and there's a lot of things to cover between Rumble and what happened during the course of the week going in the Royal Rumble. Um, I'm definitely excited about seeing Finn Balor and Brock Lesnar. I think that's the match I'd start with in this particular instance. I'm gonna be honest. I don't have anything against Brock. I'm not bashing him. I've been a Brock Lesnar fan, but I would fucking rip my eye sockets out if he's still the Universal Champion at the end of the Rumble. I think it's time. It's time to call it a day now.
well, I appreciate you being somewhat politically correct, but fuck Brock Lesnar. I can't fucking stand this guy. Okay,
He's
he's
not that bad. I just don't like the way he's, for lack of better words, made a mockery of the fucking business. And they seem to keep pushing it. I knew he was a stand-in champion because nobody could predict what was going to happen to Roman Reigns. Speedy recovery there. He has a passion for the business. He had a passion for being a champion. I know people have their differences with him, but I want a guy that's gonna be there every day, every week, and can compete not just at a big pay-per-view
hmm
and be champion, but that can compete every week. I'm used to fighting champions. CM Punk, The Rock, Stone Cold Steve Austin, Triple H, Seth Rollins, Finn Balor, AJ Styles, Daniel Bryan. These are guys that are there every week. John Cena. I don't want a guy I see once a month and then maybe three times before fucking pay per view, and he comes out, suplexes me to fucking death, and then he still manages to win a match. I don't want to see this shit anymore.
using
It's
two or
stale.
three fucking moves through a
It,
goddamn match.
And to be honest with you, I'm a Braun Strowman fan, but I'm sorry. I would rather you. I'd really rather take a goddamn enema than fuck around and watch Brock Lesnar versus Braun Strowman at WrestleMania. I'm not interested. Please give me another fucking champion.
It's
Please.
gonna be a 30-minute match at WrestleMania of nothing.
Suplexes and sidewalk slams because that's pretty much what the fuck you gonna see, and then nothing else. Meanwhile, you got guys that Seth Rollins should be Universal Champion. Finn Balor should be Universal Champion. Samoa Joe should have been Universal Champion. Hell, Drew McIntyre could potentially be Universal Champion. I'd rather see that shit than Brock Lesnar. I mean, the list goes. Dean Ambrose could be Universal Champion. The list goes on and on and on and on. I don't
Anybody but
want
him.
any. I give the fucking belt to Becky Lynch. It still would be the same thing to me. I do not want to see this motherfucker as the champion after fucking Royal Rumble. I don't. I'm
He a
gonna have
shitty
a problem
champion. I
with
mean,
it.
I don't think he's just making a mockery of the business. I think he's taking it for everything he's got, everything
Why
they've
don't they
got.
continue to push this motherfucker? I don't
They they
understand.
they feel like he sells tickets, which is bullshit. He don't sell tickets, especially now they turned on him. The WWE universe has turned on this dude completely. He doesn't even get the same pop he used to.
And they
He's
had the
trash.
balls. They had the balls to run a segment before the previous pay-per-view and Survivor Series where he looked disinterested in fucking wrestling. That is a genius way to get your belt over, by the way. Oh yeah, this is important to us, but our champion don't fucking think it is. It's fucking stupid.
Yeah, he goes a month or two without showing up to Raw. You have
By
pay
the
per views with no universal title match. The shit doesn't even mean anything anymore. You got to build that title all the way back up, and that's supposed to be the prized possession of your show.
And for those of you saying, "Oh well, Brock Lesnar is a great champion and he's real,"
No, the
well,
fuck
fuck
he's not.
you, because I don't care. And by the way, this ain't your granddad's podcast, so if you're looking for something G-rated, you might want to find a different channel. But
Yeah,
I'm just being honest. I don't want to see the shit again. I don't. I think it's time for something else. And Finn Balor was a great champion before an injury derailed that. If he and Seth Rollins can tear a house down on a Monday night show, I'm pretty sure more than enough people will be willing to see Finn Balor versus all those guys I just named and plenty of matches. And there are other guys. It's time to start using somebody else. I mean, it just is. I don't know why this is so hard.
it's time to let
And
go of the big man fantasy. That big
do
men
you
rule the world.
Do you realize that we've been looking at the same three people for the last year that have been competing for the Universal title?
Yep.
Brock Lesnar, Roman Reigns, Braun Strowman. Braun
Hmm.
Strowman and Roman Reigns. Brock Lesnar and Roman Reigns. That How the fuck do you have a squash match as a main event at WrestleMania?
Yep. Yep. Yep.
So I don't want to see the shit.
I don't
That's
want
my
to see
two
nothing.
cents.
Brock Lesnar is just, man. I could go on and on. I could turn this into a real rant about him. Yeah, like
Suplex City, bitch.
how the fuck do you stay in the business that long? You can't cut a goddamn promo.
Well, I mean, I'm not even gonna get on that. Brock's never been a person to really cut a promo. I like the whole Paul Heyman thing with him being an advocate. I'm fine with that. That's not a
I
problem.
understand that, but if he's your advocate, let him be your advocate. Don't go in the segment and then take the microphone from Paul Heyman and then say some dumb shit like,
Well,
"I'll beat your
Keithan,
ass right here." That's basic.
well, Keithan, brother, I love you, but I think some of this you saying because deep down inside you still want the boogeyman to be the universal champion.
Boogie Man can't be even a damn tag team champion. That dude was terrible in the ring. He was just a
uh,
fucking
that
gimmick.
was your favorite wrestler in
No,
high
the hell
school.
it wasn't. The fuck it wasn't. That damn Boogie Man.
What else do we got? Well, you got AJ Styles, Daniel Bryan. I really hope to God they'll do this match right for a change. I do not understand how they've had several different guys that AJ Styles could have ran great programs with in Samoa Joe and Shinsuke Nakamura and now Daniel Bryan. And you get to a pay per view and they just basically do fuck all with the matches and then they move on. I can't understand that. I think Daniel Bryan versus AJ Styles could tear a house down and fill the seats. If they do this right. If they do this right. I like the whole new Daniel Bryan thing and everything with him going heel. And I thought it was a shitty way for him to win the WWE title, but I still like the matchup. I think that's a dream matchup. If they let them wrestle and whoever wins clean, it could be a great match. It could actually be a 5-star match. AJ could put on a match with anybody. He's another guy. You know,
Yep. Yep.
of all the people to make the face of your company, he's one of them. You know, AJ's been great no matter where the fuck he's wrestled. Japan, at TNA, no matter where, Indies, it doesn't matter. He's been great. He's also a member of the Bullet Club along with Finn Balor, and you don't
Yep.
get in there by not being anything but. So yeah, I'm looking forward to that too. And to be honest with you, I don't have a preference. If Daniel Bryan wins it, that's fine. If AJ Styles wins it, that's great. I just want to see wrestling. That's my issue with the WWE right now. I don't want segments. I don't want twists. I want fucking wrestling. That's what I want. I
Too
want
much of a
solid
soap
wrestling.
opera.
Yeah, I want wrestling. And that's what the business seems to be going into now. It's not about who's big and who's small and who's a baby face and who's a heel. It's about, hey, this guy can do a match with anybody and still be great. And whether it's a guy that's subpar, whether it's a guy that's on an elite level, and when you get two elite guys or more in a match, hey, they can tear a house down. You're seeing that with the elite and guys in the Bullet Club and other people around the globe. It's time out for that. And AJ Styles and Daniel Bryan are two of those guys. I think no matter who the hell they wrestle, they're great wrestlers. They're not a great gimmick. They're not a great look. They're not a. I'm not gonna get 30 suplexes or somebody flipping over a car and all that shit's great. I want wrestling. I don't give a
Hey,
fuck about the size.
exactly. I'm tired of this old flipping the car bullshit. The thing with Daniel Bryan, I love this character. I love the Earth guy, because it's based off reality. Only thing I wish he had some better hill music. I wish he had some new music to go along with the persona.
But even when Daniel Bryan was a heel doing the no thing, remember before yes, it was no, and
Yeah,
Team
he
Hell
used
No,
that too.
yeah, he was still pretty good. Yeah, no matter what you give Daniel Bryan, his talent's gonna shine, man. I don't think it matters. I'm excited to see the match. I hope they do it right. God forbid. You know, I don't want this to turn into another
No
a Braun
contest
Strowman,
bullshit.
yeah, Braun Strowman and Brock Lesnar situation. Which, by the way, I'm gonna say this: WWE has spent so much time building Braun Strowman into this monster, but then he can never win a title. It defeats the fucking purpose, does it not?
Yeah, yeah. His promos don't work because he's like, Brock Lesnar, no, he can't beat me. He beats you 2 fucking times.
Asinine points and shit. But I digress. What the fuck? Who you got
I,
running
I
next?
I don't digress. I don't digress. He can't cut a promo neither. He's worse than Brock with this bullshit. You
He
can
only
tell
got
he's
three
not
wrestling
shit.
moves.
He sounds just like those bitches in the video on Maury when they trying to say, "This is my baby daddy. This is my baby daddy." Yeah, he sounds just like those bitches reading that shit. I, I
Uh,
just I, but in that match, for the Brock and Finn Balor match, I see Brock going over because they want that Brock and Strowman match. For the AJ Styles and Daniel Bryan match, I see Daniel Bryan going over.
well, in regards to the Brock Lesnar match, rumor has it, and I posted this on a Twitter feed. Rumor has it that they're setting up a match between Seth Rollins and Brock Lesnar at WrestleMania. Which I'm gonna be honest with you, it really pissed me off that Finn
Mhm.
Balor
Mhm.
doesn't get the win. But
Yep.
Seth Rollins versus Brock Lesnar could potentially set up. Someone else needs to be champion, and not just anybody. I want a guy that could be universal champion who can epitomize what it means to be the main champion on the main show, and that could do matches with anyone, wrestling matches, not just segments, not just promos, but they can wrestle with anyone and be just as good.
Yep. Seth Rollins versus Finn Balor at WrestleMania. Come on, man. That's a marquee matchup.
I take my clothes off of that.
I don't know about that, but you have to rival. You have to rival Ronda versus Becky, and that's how you rival Ronda versus Becky, or at
Well, hold
least put it
on. We
on the
gonna
same
get
level.
there. We getting there. We getting there. I'm saving the best for last here. I mean, who you got winning the Royal Rumble?
On the men's or women's,
Both.
just both. On the women's, gosh, I hope this works out. I really hope to God it's Ember Moon.
Ember Moon.
It's
Dude,
time for her to finally
she
get a chance.
the
Head
same
chance.
way that they trying to push Drew McIntyre, it feels like I think Ember Moon is probably the best up and comer. Now, with that being said, if it was Mandy Rose or Sonya Deville, I wouldn't be opposed to that either,
I'm
because
gonna tell
those
you
are
though.
two great talents.
Yeah, especially Sonya Deville, they don't give
I
her
love
enough.
Sonya
They
Deville.
don't
I
give
do.
her enough of a chance
The
to.
SmackDown women's roster is loaded, and I think
Hmm.
maybe it's gonna come a point in time where they're gonna have to they're gonna have to actually divvy some of that talent up and chop it in half and send it to Raw, because they are phenomenal. That division is stacked. You got
Hmm.
Charlotte Flair, the man, Becky Lynch, the hottest wrestling commodity right now in the WWE probably. You have Sonya Deville, Mandy Rose, Asuka, who I'm a huge fan of, and I think it's high time she's been champion. I'm excited for that match. And of course, you have
Naomi.
Naomi. Yep,
Yeah.
and I'm pretty sure at some point they're gonna have a couple call ups. So from NXT that they're probably gonna add. I love the SmackDown women's division, and on the Raw side, you got some great talents in Natalia and of course Ronda Rousey, who we'll get to here in a few minutes. And
Alexa
Alexa
Bliss,
Bliss, who's coming back.
Bailey, and Sasha, and then that's where it stops. Oh, and Nikki Cross. Then that's where it
Yep,
stops.
yep, no doubt. Oh, I
That's,
forgot. God damn it, fuck! I hate getting old. It's probably a comeback to me, hell, but you threw me off when you said Sasha and Bailey, and that's where it stops because it's kind of fucked up.
that's where it stops. That's where it stops.
I don't disagree. I don't disagree. But yeah, Ember Moon is definitely a huge up and comer. I see her winning a damn Rumble, and but winning a Rumble and going against who? Do you think she stays on Raw and challenges whoever the champion is, or do you think she goes to SmackDown?
Oh, I would love to see her go to SmackDown and face Asuka. Asuka's going to WrestleMania as the women's champion. I'm calling it. I'm calling it.
Well, hold on. Again, saving the best for last. Just bear with me. I'm anxious to get there. Just hang on. We agree on the women's Royal Rumble. The men, who do you got?
Well, one more last note about the women's. I feel if Ember Moon doesn't win, then they might be setting up for Alexa Bliss to win.
Alexa Bliss would be a good comeback,
That would
but
be.
uh, uh, I don't know. I'm a huge Alexa Bliss fan. I love her, by the way. But
So
I
do
don't
I.
know. Okay, but uh, clearly, I mean, she's not a Charlotte, but okay.
She don't have
Um,
to be in Charlotte. She doesn't have to be.
well, you know how I feel about Charlotte. I don't have to say anything. If, by the way, if you're listening, uh, you're the greatest. But now that I've gotten the
Mm,
marketing out,
mm.
that's a possibility. I mean, you think any surprises, any surprise entrants?
Any surprise answers? I haven't heard much about the women's. Like I don't know who might show up. I mean, maybe Trish Lita might show up again, but I don't really know if the
Has it
Bella
has
Twins
it
might show up.
has it pissed you off that they're revealing the entrance before the Rumble? on social media.
Oh, it's pissing everybody out. They've been getting their asses handed to them, but it's a way to sabotage it. Because last year the women's Royal Rumble was better than the men's in a lot of aspects, in my opinion. Men's Royal Rumble didn't get good until the end.
Yeah, and Oscar went over
Hmm.
and wound up winning it. But I mean, I'm pissed off. The Royal Rumble has always been spontaneous. You didn't know
Hmm.
what you were going to get and what number and who was going to do what. I mean, yeah, you would have a guy. Kane, I think, came in one year as number two and almost won the whole fucking thing by eliminating everybody.
Yep.
He lasted almost an hour, I think it was, or something like that. But you never knew because it was spontaneous.
Hmm.
What the fuck would persuade you to do this? I don't know. It's not something I like. I'm kind of pissed off because I know the order somewhat. Hopefully that they shuffle that up after people's made a fuss. I think they should, but yeah,
It's
I'm
definitely
really angry
intentional.
about
Because
that.
why would you have Alexa Bliss announce that she's entering the Rumble instead of letting her have an amazing return, enter at number one or number two or something?
Yeah, yeah, no, I don't disagree.
It don't make sense.
Um,
But for the men's Royal Rumble, getting back on track, who do I have winning the men's? You know what? I haven't put much thought into it. I think they're gonna just do the predictable thing and have Braun Strowman go over and win the Rumble.
is he even competing?
They say he's cleared for it, and he said that he's gonna be in it. So
You know what? The still a line from Jim Cornette, the greatest of all time. I'd rather you if they're gonna let if fucking Strowman goes over, you just need to fucking sodomize me with a rusty knife because I don't want to see that shit. I just don't. Why? And do you realize the last thing that happened when Braun Strowman and Brock Lesnar fucking were in the? Well, you know what? God damn it! Before I even get to that, it could be worse. You could have fucking Baron Corbin win, and I can't stomach his ass either no more. My pick is
he's
Drew
just man.
McIntyre.
I would like for Drew McIntyre to win. I would really love it. I would love it for Drew McIntyre to win and
I
stuff
think
because he's got
it's the
something to
writing's
offer.
been on the wall for a while now with the whole him and Dolph Ziggler thing and him trying to enter the championship picture. But I think Drew McIntyre is the obvious choice. Seth Rollins could, but I mean I don't. They're so unpredictable, and every time they always find a way to suck you in with this because they'll get you to thinking, okay, we've learned, we've heard what you have to say, and you want more wrestling and you want guys that are great, and okay, we're gonna give that to you, and they shove some other piece of shit down your throat. Oh well,
Hmm.
hey, and then I feel like they try to paint it to the fan as you don't know what you want. This is what you want. You want 36 suplexes from
We
Brock
know the
Lesnar,
business.
or you want yeah. I just and I don't think it's Triple H. I really don't. That's another thing I'm wondering here is at what point how is it that the developmental supposed I'm gonna put it like that at this point supposed
Yeah, it's
developmental
not
program
developmental anymore.
is better than the main roster because they got a wealth of talent. Even during the Attitude Era and certain parts leading up to now, it used to be you had 5, 6, 7, 8 guys that could possibly be the champion. You had Stone Cold Steve Austin, you had The Rock, you had The Undertaker, you had Triple H, Mankind was in the picture, Kane was in the picture. There were guys you could interchange, and nobody ever got too stale. Chris Jericho, nobody ever got too stale. Nobody ever got too was champion too long. That there was parity there, so everybody had a different take on the championship. You've had three champions for what seems like the last 2 years, or at least two guys and two guys with the championship, three of them competing. I'm sick of seeing it. I just,
That's
and when they bring in somebody else, like I thought they mishandled the Samoa Joe Brock Lesnar thing. That could have actually went somewhere. And I
They
don't know
did.
what their problem is with Samoa Joe, but it's
They didn't
egregious the
expect that
way
to get
he
over
has.
the way it did. They didn't
Yeah,
expect to eat his food like he did.
but I don't know what their problem is with Samoa Joe, but they're wasting him. They are,
I
man.
think they lack faith in him because of his injury proneness. He's very
I,
prone to injury.
I'm gonna be a little more specific and blunt here. With all due respect, and again, this may not be a Triple H thing, but with all due respect, I think that it's well, fuck all due respect. I think it's a lot simpler than that. They're looking at Joe, and he's not their ideal version of a champion. He's not huge. He's not a big bodybuilding guy. He doesn't have the body or the look for a champion, but he's still one of the best workers. Has been on the indie scene at TNA, NXT. He was great, and then he gets here and he's just been mismanaged. They pissed me the fuck off with how they made him look like a fucking job guy against fucking Drew McIntyre Survivor Series. How do
Oh
you
yeah.
eliminate Samoa Joe? First off, Survivor Series was a joke. How do you have a Survivor Series and say Raw versus SmackDown and fucking SmackDown didn't even win a single fucking event? It wasn't even close.
It's because Raw was suffering in ratings, and they thought that would help the ratings, but it didn't.
Yeah, yeah. And this is the problem, and I just I'm sick of it. But Drew McIntyre is my pick. A surprise entrance. Supposedly Velveteen Dream because he's not on Takeover, which I think is egregious. Supposedly he may be an entrant. I think that would be pretty cool. First off, I think he should be on the main roster, but so do I feel the same way about Ciampa, Gargano, Adam Cole, Aleister Black. These guys would add to that already great talent pool of wrestlers that would tear the house down. But if they got there, like Andrade almost has, and they're going to be misused. I'd like to see Andrade win the Rumble and get its actual real championship spot. And they're not even. You do realize he's tore the house down almost for the last month with Rey Mysterio and what's been going on. That 2 out of 3 falls match was awesome
That was a
match
pay-per-view quality match, and they blew it
on regular fucking
on
television.
regular television. And then this thing I don't like: don't play no goddamn commercials in one box and show the match in another box. You're taking away from it. Don't do that. That's the most disrespectful thing they started doing now in SmackDown broadcast.
Am I
Like
reaching
during
a little bit when I say that some of the things that WCW used to do that put them out of business, the WWE almost feels like it does, and I'm not saying that they're gonna go out of business, but they're kind of adopted some of the same principles when it comes to certain things, and certain talents. I'm like you. I don't understand why Rey Mysterio versus Almas wasn't on a pay per view. That's a match you gave away for
yeah,
free. A 2 out of 3
yeah,
falls match. I've never seen one of those on syndicated television. That should have been a Royal Rumble match. It didn't have to
clearly
necessarily, yeah, or it could have been a pay per view match. It didn't necessarily have to be a Rumble match, but that could have been turned into something.
you could have started your pay-per-view with that match.
It's the
You
same
know,
thing with Daniel Bryan winning the fucking championship against AJ Styles right before Survivor Series, and they didn't even. I didn't. That was an idiotic thing to do to me, and I know they were saying, "Oh well, let's shake it up." That should have been a pay per view match. And
yeah,
then it
that's
not
true.
only could have been a pay-per-view match, you could have had the same fucking finish, and then it wouldn't have been a clean finish, but he'd have been champion on a pay-per-view and you still put on a great fucking match. Then you could have turned around and came back and started the program and said, okay, well, hey, here's a rematch on the next show. And then you could have did a no contest and built up to the Royal Rumble, and then you already had a lot of things going on, and it's a buzz to it at this point because he didn't go over clean at the last pay per view, but then hell, they've had some great matches, but they ended no contest or disqualification, whatever the fuck. And then of
Like
course the
this week.
brawls in the backstage and shit. That's it. And then you go into the pay per view and put the guy back over. It's not that fucking hard to book a fucking event. I don't get it. Fuck.
So I say, who books this shit sometimes? And another thing, I said this before. It sounds like a rant, but damn it, I gotta go back to Brock and Braun. Why it's not gonna work? You remember that video when uh Braun gave Brock a stiff shot? and then
Yeah.
Brock gave him a knee and punched the shit out of him, told him to slow down.
Yeah. Yeah.
How you gonna put that man over after that? How you gonna put that man over after that? The promos don't make sense or nothing. You got your ass whooped in the ring, literally.
Literally.
Like
I don't know. It's like they don't listen to the fans and what
they
they're
fucking
wanting,
don't.
and they try to tell you this is what you need. We hear what you're saying, but I don't want what you think I need. I want what I'm telling you. I'd like to see.
Yeah, we want to be
And
entertained.
right now, what they have got right going into the next thing has been this whole ordeal with uh well hell, let's do Becky Lynch and Oscar first. Now that's
Hmm.
one of the things they
Hmm.
have gotten right. I'm gonna be honest, I was surprised that Oscar won the title in the first place. It's long overdue. It should have been better handled after WrestleMania and her program with Charlotte. And if you didn't want to put her over on SmackDown, she should have been moved to Raw. They
Yeah,
misused her for a while, and rumor has it the reason she finally got a championship run is because she was threatening to leave. That's rumor. I don't know how true that is, but that's something that I've read, and that's when they decided to use her. But I'm very excited about that match. I think it's gonna be a barn burner. Uh, Becky Lynch right now can do a match with anybody and be great, and Oscar is no pushover in her
yeah.
own right. She's one of the best. I'm excited about that. I'm gonna be honest. I don't really want to pick. I don't care who wins. I love Oscar, but Becky Lynch is she almost like the Stone Cold Steve Austin of the women's division right
And
now.
her
She can
demeanor
do
is
no
just
wrong.
like that. Her demeanor
Yeah,
is like that. My prediction: Oscar is gonna win. If they're really serious about doing this four horsewomen BS, which I hope they're not, I think that Oscar's going over.
I'd like to see the Horseman angle play out. It's been building. They
I
finally
like to
got
I like
something
to
that's
see
been
it
for
play
real.
out in a fatal four way match. In a
And
fatal
I'm gonna
four
be
way
honest,
match.
I'd like to see it play out simply because you could potentially have women headlining WrestleMania, which I think would be awesome. Because the truth be told, that's about the only fucking thing right now that's worth watching. In the long form, I'll put it like that. I mean, the women's division has been putting on a program for almost a year now. I think you got to go back to WrestleMania when Charlotte and Oscar put on that great match that they had, and then of course Ronda Rousey's debut and all the things that have happened from there have been just kind of gradually building into this moment. They had a great thing going into Survivor Series with the SmackDown invasion of Raw, and
Yep.
the the social media stuff has picked up big time. There's a lot going on. I know Sasha Banks has been going at it with Ronda Rousey all this week. And not just that, last week they had a whole ordeal between the four horsewomen of the MMA and the four horsewomen of WWE on Twitter. So it's been building. I mean, they got a lot of that. This whole program's on fire going in. My problem seems to be right now with the four horsewomen of the WWE, you got four solid, great workers.
Right.
All of them have been champions at
Right.
one point in time. They all can do a little bit of everything. Granted, Sasha and Bailey may not be as great at talking as Charlotte and Becky Lynch, but they all are great freaking wrestlers. And I think you can do no wrong with any of them. But
Yep.
at the same time, on the flip side of that, I couldn't see how you could put the four horsewomen of MMA in the
Yep.
same breath.
Yep.
Because I'm gonna be honest with you, Ronda Rousey has surprised me, and I know we're about to get to her match here in a second. She surprised me for simply because she hasn't come in and done essentially what Brock Lesnar's doing and been a part timer. She wrestles every week. She wrestles every night, every live event. She does every dark match. I mean, she's been great on pay per view. She's promoing. She's running. She's doing it all. She's been great. Shayna Baszler, I'm not a super fan, but she still seems pretty good. On NXT at least. I'll put it like this: she seems pretty good. She's not much on the talking part, but the wrestling, something's there to be had. Marina Shafir and Jessamine Duke,
Jobbers.
uh,
They're jobbers. They are
I'm not gonna
jobbers.
say
Wait,
that, but
I'm saying it. It's about to see jobber. Jessamine Duke walks to the ring like she's on steroids and shit, but she's like she has chicken arms and stuff. Like, how am I supposed to believe that you can whoop somebody's ass? And
hey,
there's no getting over for them after the way that they lost to Dakota Kai and Io Shirai. Like that was like a jobber match.
nah. I,
After,
Io Shirai and Dakota Kai are great though, and that
yeah,
May Young
exactly.
Classic participant. I mean,
But as
yeah,
being the force in it, as being a strong force in NXT, you're supposed to still be able to get over in that aspect too, just off based off fear. Like
right.
they didn't even get over well with Bianca Blair with that 3-on-3 segment when they had her in the ring cornered. And that's
Yeah, they
another
kind
thing.
of were standing in the background while this was going.
Yeah,
I didn't understand that either. I'm just not sold on them. I'm not gonna bash them because I just don't. You don't see a lot of them to know what they can really do. And I think they're still learning, which is why I don't think you're gonna get a four horsewomen angle at all. But they do. Hell, you could have a potential four horsewomen thing going at Royal Rumble because look at it like this: you finna have Sasha Banks versus Ronda Rousey.
yep,
Now, my theory is I think Sasha Banks takes the belt off Ronda. And I'm going to tell you how. Remember, Ronda Rousey caused Becky Lynch to lose the title to Asuka in the first place, right?
yep,
Payback. So, hell, and this would be the way you would get a four horsewomen finish. And I would end the show with this if at all possible, but I can't see them doing it.
yeah.
Sasha Banks, and this is the way I would have booked it. Sasha Banks and Ronda Rousey have the match. The match is going strong because I'm pretty sure they're gonna put on a strong performance. They're both great. Again, Ronda Rousey has advanced a lot quicker than I think people have gave her credit for. So having a great match, you hit the high spot or whatnot where it looks like you don't have a winner. Well, then there's a run in. Uh, Fucking Becky Lynch comes in to get revenge, but then out comes Shayna Baszler, Marina Shafir, and Jessamine Duke. Okay, well then hell, here comes Charlotte, and then Bailey runs out. Some kind of way in all of that chaos, you got all 8 women out there, and they going at it, and there's chaos everywhere. The goddamn bank statement is hit, and then the fucking belts put on Sasha Banks at the end of the show, but the brawl keeps going after that, and that starts in. Then you come back into the next show on Monday night, and there's a segment, and then there out of nowhere here comes Becky Lynch and Charlotte again, and you got Sasha Banks and Bailey out there, and then everybody else shows up, and you can do a four home four that night to close the show, and that ends in a no contest. And then you could do something else where you have a tag match on SmackDown. Then there's an invasion for the four horsewomen of the MMA, and then out comes Sasha Banks and Bailey at SmackDown, and it just goes on and on. And at the next pay per view before WrestleMania, you could potentially have four horsewomen there, but I don't think you're gonna see it at WrestleMania. But there is a way to get it done. It just won't be. I don't think that you're gonna see it at WrestleMania like people think. I mean, but I'm pretty sure that I'm almost certain maybe Sasha Banks gets the belt simply
yep.
because rumor has it Ronda Rousey's done after Mania, and
She's taking a break.
unless they plan on because there's no possible way that I see Becky Lynch could win could end up getting a match against Ronda Rousey at WrestleMania simply because she's not in the Rumble. But if Charlotte wins it and Sasha Banks does not win the title at Royal Rumble, well then you could potentially have Charlotte move to Raw, which wouldn't be a bad thing because I think Charlotte is too good to be on the same roster right this second with Becky Lynch. It's too much there for them to be had. You gotta separate them. Yeah, but I mean, I, the only way you get this is if they can book it right at the end of Rumble. I think that would be the best way to get it done. I would actually go out with them still brawling. I would close the pay per view like that, and that would just leave so much up in the air. You could do something with it. But that's probably the only way you're gonna see this. I think you have to have something done only because there's been so much build up and back and forth. Even when Becky Lynch was out, she still was getting into it with the four horsewomen of MMA on Twitter. She was throwing Twitter bombs everywhere. You know,
Is she not great at what she does on the mic
she
and
one
on
of the
social
best
media?
right now.
Is she not
She's
great
one of the
with
best.
the way she rips people's heart out?
She's
Like
one of the best.
Mickey James said some to her on Twitter, talk about I'm used to people using my name to get famous or something like that, and then Becky came and stung her back with a good one. I forgot what she said, but it was lethal. It was lethal.
Yeah.
It puts Mickey
Well,
and her feelings.
they've taken it to another level. She been white hot all year. That whole thing between her and Charlotte. If you have not seen the last woman standing match at Evolution between them two, that was a WrestleMania
It was great.
quality match.
It was great.
Yeah, it was great. And the performance to the incident they had between Becky Lynch and Charlotte and how that went down. And I mean, she she's been white hot all year. I mean, even leading the invasion of in the Raw right before Survivor Series and the unfortunate thing with Nia Jax, but hell, she was still white hot at that point. You
Have
know,
you forgiven Nia Jax yet?
nope,
Oh,
no, she robbed me of something very special, and you may not get it ever again.
yeah. She's not
But
really getting much of a
you may
push
not
either.
get it
Ever
ever
again.
again. I don't think I'll ever forgive her for that because that was the one chance they had to get that right. Now, unless something changes in the next couple months, I don't think you're gonna see Becky Lynch and Ronda Rousey. It'll just be one of those buildups that just won't happen. But then again, they've surprised us before. There's no telling, you know. So, um,
Next match is I don't even know if we should even talk about this one. I'm not even happy with this match. The Bar versus Miz and Shane.
I refuse. The only thing I'm gonna say to this is this: I am so tired of seeing the McMahons wrestling and Triple H. Now, Triple H, I could stomach a little bit more because it's Triple H. Does it make sense? I'm
Yep.
tired of seeing the people that are supposed to be running the company and the show out on camera. I don't want to see. I
You're
don't want to
supposed to
see
be
that
getting rid
shit.
of that completely.
Right. I don't want to see that. NXT runs with no authority figure present at all, and it's
Yeah.
fine. You know, you don't have. It's almost like they want to take time to still get themselves. The fact that Shane McMahon won the World Cup.
Yeah. That
I,
just shows that it meant nothing.
no, it was a waste of fucking time. And
Big
I'm gonna
ass
tell
trophy.
you, this kind of shit is what's gonna cost them when it comes to AEW. And,
Mm-hmm.
and I think this is what's really pushing somebody else to try a different promotion. You know, I know
Yeah.
we're gonna touch on AEW close the show here in a little bit, but it you know I'm sick of seeing this, and this is a joke. And do
I think
you
the sole
realize
purpose is just to set up Shane and Miz for WrestleMania.
to be what tag team champions?
No, to go against each other at WrestleMania.
Oh,
Well,
Jesus!
why would you do
Why is
that to
why
Miz
is
when you
Shane in
just had him?
WrestleMania again? Do you remember what happened last year?
I don't want to fucking remember what happened last year. I'm tired of seeing Shane wrestle. I love Shane, but damn it, I'm tired of seeing him wrestle. Okay, I want to see
I don't
the
disagree.
people who work, the people who
I
stay
don't
on the road
disagree.
all week. I want to see the workhorse do some shit.
Meanwhile, you could have probably utilized another tag team. You
Yeah,
know
you
I
could have. You could have
that
used Sanity. You could have used Sanity.
I don't disagree. You're not
Just sitting
hearing
there
me argue
festering.
with you.
You could have used Luke Gallows and Carl Anderson.
Yeah,
Good,
yeah, I don't disagree.
but fuck that
I don't
match.
understand. Yeah,
But
I don't.
fuck that match. I don't care. We forgetting
That's
one too.
probably when I'll fucking go get my. That's probably my bathroom time or some shit. I don't know. Hell,
Yeah, I'm gonna fix my food to that one.
yeah,
Don't
yeah.
give a damn. The U.S. title match, Rusev and Shinsuke. I think this is a slap in the face that you got them on the kickoff show instead of the main. The
They ought to be ashamed of themselves for the way they've mismanaged Shinsuke Nakamura. I mean, the guy was a massive talent in New Japan, and I've seen matches that he did with AJ Styles when AJ Styles was the leader of the Bullet Club, and G1 Summit matches and shit like that. And even in NXT, he was great, and he was charismatic, and they have just misused him since WrestleMania and have turned him into a joke. I mean, this whole thing with him, you turned him heel, and now he never got a championship run, and then he became irrelevant with the U.S. title and all the low blows and shit. I'm just,
hmm
it's egregious. And I hope to God he'll leave. I think he needs to go back to New
Yeah,
Japan where he's better utilized, and he'll actually be appreciated there. This is a disgrace.
yeah. He got to get away from there. He got to
Yeah.
leave. It's bull. It's bull.
Yeah, it's a disgrace. I mean, that it's disgraceful. I mean, Rusev is probably gonna win that match, and that's fine. But it's disgraceful. They ought to be ashamed of themselves. Shame on you. Fuck it.
Yeah, I'm not
If you
even.
weren't gonna use the fucking guy right, why have him? And I think that's their biggest thing and stuff. And uh,
Yep,
anyway.
yep.
Well,
Screw
man,
that. That's it for Royal Rumble, pretty much. Yep.
yeah. Well, hell, let's segue into AEW. Talk some AEW real quick, then we'll get the fuck out of here. Um, as you know, as we talked about yesterday, they're doing a live event on the 7th of February in regards to Double or Nothing, and they're getting a lot of traction. They're also doing merch releases of shirts and things like that. By the way, if you haven't seen them, check them out on Twitter at AEW, and I mean it's pretty awesome what they're doing. I,
Sign the
I'm
people left and right.
I'm anxious to see if they get Kenny Omega. You know that
Oh,
and of course he can't say anything from what I understand until his contract is up at the end of this month, which technically speaking is a week away. So I'm sure Kenny Omega, if he does sign with AEW, which at this stage in the game I don't see why the fuck
they
he would want
became
to
a
go to
big
WWE.
dog. Once he
Yeah,
signs, they become the big fucking dog.
well,
Okay, and
not just that. I'm hoping my dream and wish here is maybe they can convince CM Punk to come in. Maybe. I know
yeah,
that he
even if
said
not a
many times
wrestler,
he's done with wrestling and stuff, but this could be something different. I think this will be a promotion of the people, and they're going to pay a lot more attention to what people are asking for.
yeah,
And it's going to be wrestling. It won't be none of this cartoon bullshit and these joke matches that we're getting right now, but it'll be real wrestling. It'll be real matches and guys that can tear the house down. And it don't matter what size they are or what it's gonna be a meritocracy based wrestling promotion. I'm excited about that. I think
I'm excited
competition
about
is good.
how they're treating talent. They're giving them benefits. They're having equal pay for men and women. Everybody getting paid the same.
Oh
You
yeah,
know?
no, that is
Nobody
awesome.
being left off. WWE, they treat their wrestlers as independent contractors because that's what they are to them.
Well, not just that. Hell, that you have maybe three or four of the best wrestlers in the world right now, and Cody Rhodes, the Bucks. If you get Kenny Omega, he is the best wrestler in the world
Yep,
today. Period.
yep.
The only wrestlers I would even put in that same category are on the WWE roster are AJ Styles, Seth Rollins, Ben Balor. Uh, and that's probably that's where the buck would stop for me. I mean, Samoa Joe gets an honorable mention, but again, when we talking just overall quality, I think, when you look at them, maybe those guys. Oh,
But
Daniel Bryan.
it's all the more reason why people like Finn Balor should get more respect. He started the fucking Bullet Club. He started
Yeah,
that shit.
yeah. And the Bullet Club is full of what?
Workhorse people and full of all the people that's kicking their ass
Exactly.
right now. That's kicking ass,
Exactly.
putting
Exactly.
on the
And
best
any
matches.
promotion. They not WWE guys, by the way, except for Finn Balor and Adam Cole and AJ Styles, but most of these guys are independent wrestlers. You know, I think the indie scene, man, is on fire right now, and
Oh
if
yeah,
you don't
definitely.
recognize what they doing, I'm gonna be honest. I think with AEW coming in, if they can really capture some of this talent and stuff like that, and with New Japan as high as they are, I'd like to see a revised form of the NWA restarted. I know that's old schoolish, and for people that don't know, but you can have four legitimate territories or whatnot in New Japan, Ring of Honor, AEW, and Impact Wrestling come together and form a coalition of sorts and put on all kinds of mega shows in different venues and things like that and fucking tear the house down. And they can really give WWE a run as a collective group. And interchange talent and share. You can have all of that. I'd love to see that. And not to mention, there's talk that some WWE guys are ready to jump ship.
Of course. Of
When you
course.
We've talked about this before in the past. When you have a monopoly, you don't have an incentive to put on good
Hmm.
product because that's all there is to watch. And WWE has cornered the market for almost 20 years. And they've had good runs, but they've had more times where people were just like, I can't believe this is all we're getting. But there was no competition. You may actually be able to turn this into something now.
Yeah.
You got guys coming in with some name recognition in Jericho and Cody Rhodes and the Young Bucks and possibly Kenny Omega. Again, I'm holding out hope that maybe they can convince CM Punk to come in. There's been talk that Dolph Ziggler and Zack Ryder and even a Revival are trying to get out
Yeah.
of and come. I think that would be a place for them to go. Guys are knowing that they have somewhere else to go now, and I think that's why the WWE is taking and trying to change the business model. But at the same time, they're changing the model, but still trying to push their agenda on the viewer or the audience, and that's not gonna cut it.
No, it's not. It's not. And people are requesting to come over there to them because they see what is being built and they want to be a part of it.
I'm gonna tell you, if Double or Nothing go does just as well as All In did, and these guys can really promote, and they self promoted the first time, but they're promoting with a billionaire behind them and a great venue. You you may This may be a problem.
Oh yeah.
The only thing I don't want to see them do is bite off more than they can chew a little bit too quick. My fear is if they try to go head to head with the WWE instead of making it a gradual process and building up to it over time, getting their feet wet, seeing if they can get a viewership, get on the network, things like that, get the ratings, get the talent, and produce matches after match after match and pay per view and event after event. If they can do that in a gradual process and not go head to head, they may be able to be the answer that the wrestling business needs. I mean, competition is good in wrestling because the guys got somewhere else to go. So there's a lot more incentive to put on great products and use talent the way they're intended to be used.
Well, they AEW. I see them. They jabbing with WWE a little bit. They working on their jab. They keeping them at arm's length. They're like, all right, we're here. We're gonna make you aware of it. We ain't
Well,
coming for you yet.
Ring of Honor isn't a pushover either. There's great talent over there, and what they've been able to do. And I mean, guys like Jay Lethal are over there, and they're doing good shit, But I think again, I'd like to see NWA started up, a revised version. Again, you put four promotions together, and they able to do events and interchange talent. You could have something. I know you haven't seen it since the territory days, where you had a whole wrestling alliance, but that might be a good way of keeping this thing afloat.
I think they may do some shows like that where they have a NWA slash AEW type thing because that's what they were doing with Impact Wrestling and Jeff Jarrett's wrestling promotion he was starting a couple years ago. They had uh they had them working with other promotions. They said they're gonna work with other people. They plan on going to China and wrestle.
Hmm.
To AEW plan on working with different um promotions to get there, get more notoriety.
Yeah,
'Cause-
cross promotion is good. It's getting notoriety for you. It's getting notoriety for other places. I think that would be really good. And as far as Jeff Jarrett, I think a lot of credit for stuff like this has to go to him because Jeff Jarrett was the first person that I can recall to actually branch out after WCW folded and say, "Hey, there can be another place with TNA wrestling." Unfortunately, TNA didn't go the way that a lot of people thought it would when it first opened up. But he opened the door there, and then of course Global Force Wrestling and Jeff Jarrett with the Bullet Club and stuff. He's kind of been the father of hey, maybe there's another life outside of WWE. So you got to give him some credit for some of this too.
yeah, and I have faith in Cody because I mean, shit, he's raised by one of the greatest minds in the wrestling industry.
American Dream, Death the Road, baby.
You know what I'm
No
saying?
doubt.
He taught his son well, so he ain't gonna fuck up anything. I feel, I feel like as long as they keep the devil out, the devil being them overzealous people who think they could book a match and produce a match and write a storyline.
Please God, no more old WCW guys or TNA guys or any of that bullshit. I'd like to see them try to do this on their own, and bring in certain guys as consultants or as advisors or whatever the fuck. I mean, there's guys out there that still know how to run a wrestling promotion. Jim Cornette, Jim Ross, or guys like that. Bruce Pritchard's out there, maybe. And I'd like to see them kind of, try to do this and just have guys in an advisory role or something like
I
that. Uh,
I think it's gonna be good, especially when they get that TV deal. They're waiting to announce that. They're gonna announce that probably at Double or Nothing. That's my guess.
Talk is they were trying to get on Turner Broadcasting. Now, if they can get on TBS and do something, that's major. You
Yeah,
may
especially if they
already
back
have
on
half the base.
TNT,
Yeah, yeah,
just like
yeah.
Nitro.
Yeah, you may not get the Monday Night Wars, but you could see the beginning
It's
of a
gonna be a war,
wrestling war.
nevertheless.
Yeah, you could see the beginning of a wrestling war, which is pretty cool.
I'm excited.
But, oh shit,
People are
likewise, man.
pissing and shitting their pants.
As it should be. I mean, I know Triple H talked about it this week, and he said, "Hey, it's something we'll keep an eye on." But they have a penchant for not recognizing actual competition, so it's going to be interesting to see how that works. But then again, they've hoarded talent just for the sake of having them, but haven't done much with them. Now they're scared that they're going to lose talent to a rival promotion. So this is going to make them rethink how to use guys like Zack Ryder, or if they, do they need to use more of Dog? I think this is going to make them think twice. The Revival is another group of guys that should be utilized better. This might be good for them as far as getting them to be used right. I mean, the Revival are much more than just a mid card match against Lucha House Party, which I don't have a problem with Lucha House Party, but they were major tag team in NXT. They get to the main roster. There's nothing really for them, and you just forget they're there. That's bullshit. So
They don't even deserve TV time. I'm just gonna say it. They don't deserve TV time. That
who?
bullshit.
Lucha House Party.
Lucha House Party, man. That fucking Lucha shit. That shit died with the Lucha Dragons when Kalisto and Sin Cara. It was more over then, but now since they broke apart, that shit dead. What the fuck are you doing? They don't even get a good crowd participation. Nothing, man.
Well,
They
they seem like they over a little bit. I mean, I'm not, but I feel like it's
little
making a
bit.
mockery of the luchador style of wrestling with the house party gimmick. I mean, every luchador I've seen since we've been watching wrestling. The Juventud Guerreros, the Rey Mysterio Juniors, the the list goes on and on. The Psychosis, all of those guys, they were pretty serious competitors. That they took it serious, but it just seems like it feels very cartoonish and comedy wrestling sometimes.
It is. It is.
Yeah, and that's a disgrace to the luchador style of wrestling. I just
Oh, damn
but call me old
stereotypes.
fashioned, but that's just it. Well, hell, man, let's wrap this up. We know we went pretty long. We typically gonna try to keep the episodes to around an hour or an hour and a half. Sometimes they may go longer depending on what we're talking about and how caught up we get.
Because we're talking
Um,
our shit.
yeah, no, this is definitely a passion project here. I mean, we do nothing but discuss wrestling all day. So again, this is why we figured we try to kind of give our take on what's going on and stuff. Um, we love feedback. I mean, tell us what you want to hear. Tell us
Eventually, we're
if
gonna add more promotions like Ring of Honor and you know
yeah, as time
different
goes
things like
on,
that.
yeah, definitely. Tell us what you want to hear. If you like what you're hearing, please like and subscribe to our channel, Best Damn Wrestling Podcast. Also we're on Twitter at damn_podcast. And Keith, and what's the IG?
The IG is best damn WP. And
And we
shout out to the new followers on Twitter and on Instagram.
Yeah, we really appreciate the support. I mean, if you like what you hear, please pass word along and have other people tune in. Again, we'd love to hear from you. We take feedback. Tell us if we missed something, if we got something wrong. Again, we're not experts, we're just fans, and
Yep.
we love interacting with other fans, and we may be able to figure something out. We also do live tweets and Instagram doing pay-per-views. We'll
Yep.
be live tweeting and everything else, doing takeover and rumble. And if you're a fan, you like our show and stuff, I mean, be sure to follow us and kind of give us your take on what you think and stuff. Again, we're not experts. This is something we're doing just for fun, or whatever. It's not a way to make money or anything. This is what we decided to do. But other than that, man, we look forward to doing this with you guys next week, and hopefully we'll have something different to talk about that's good after the Royal Rumble and NXT Takeover.
Hopefully.
Yeah,
Hopefully. If
hopefully,
not, I'm going on a rant. I'm going on a rant if we
yeah. So hopefully, but for the time being, man, we're gonna get out of here, and we look forward to hearing from you. Look forward to seeing you next week, and peace.
peace out, people.